Hey, dude, why did they do that instead? Instead of like seeing the like count and the dislike count, why don't you just tell me the total like added dislike to likes, right? So if it's like 10 likes and a 1 dislike, then it's 9. Yo, what's up? So YouTube, as I'm sure every single person and their mother has heard, has decided to remove the dislike button, or at least the dislike count from YouTube videos for every video, which means that you'll no longer be able to see how many people have disliked a video on YouTube at all. Now, there's already an option for people like creators to remove the like and dislike count from their channel. So, a lot of people already kind of thought that was a thing, but now since they're forcing it on everyone, it has a lot of people, I'd say, up in arms to say the least. That a lot of people are really, really mad about it. I don't know if I'm really, really mad about it, but I do think it's probably a bad move overall. It's kind of weird. Like, some people are making the argument that, well, let's say for like tutorial videos, that it's hard to know if the tutorial is going to be helpful or not, or for normal videos it's hard to tell if you're going to like the video or not, I guess, based on the like to dislike ratio. And YouTube's stated reason for doing this is to, because like there's like targeted campaigns against people, I guess, to dislike their videos or something. Maybe that's true. I don't actually know. I guess it's possible. I've never really seen targeted campaigns. I've had some of my videos get like mass disliked and then comments written that just made no sense. Like I made a video about like Disney and the Vive stuff, and the comments that people made absolutely indicated that they had no idea what my video was about and they disliked it anyway. And I wouldn't say that's like a targeted campaign. That's just people who are like crypto bros who have no idea what they're talking about anyway, but they thought I was like dissing on their like crypto thing, and I wasn't even doing that, but they got mad about it. So I can see where some of that frustration comes from, but even then, like I it's not very good for, I think, the users. I think the only time or the only reason that this is good for anybody is it's good for the company, like YouTube as a whole, which maybe will trickle down into creators' pockets. I mean, creators do make like a percentage of the ad rev. So if they're able to improve like ad rev and like view duration for users, perhaps it could actually improve like how much money like creators are making. But of course, we all know that YouTube, in that sense, is going to be top heavy with who makes money. It's pretty expected, but that's how it goes. Um, maybe we'll see that, but because like it's a lot easier for an ad company or even like just a company who wants to put ads on something to say like, hey, this video has a lot of dislikes. We don't want to put any ads on videos with like a lot of dislikes that's visible because it looks kind of bad for our brand. But if you can't tell how many dislikes it has, it looks good to everyone, right? Because like you don't know if like maybe this is just a new channel or whatever. But regardless, I think I think overall it's a bad idea because of the things I mentioned before. You don't really know what's good and what's not good, or like when is something useful and when something not useful. And that's kind of my stance on it. Now we'll go over the YouTube like blog thing, and then we'll go over the video. But it's just I feel like they're, I don't know if pandering's the right word, but they're kind of being like too soft on people. Actually, maybe that's wrong, because I do actually believe it's pretty much primarily just for ads. So it's probably that they're just doing this for monetary reason. And of course, on my channel, I'll always say, don't look at things that a company does as like, oh, we're being a good guy or a bad guy. Always look at it from like, oh, this is what they think is going to make them more money, because in the end, that's what a company is trying to do. And so I don't think that like so many people were having their feelings hurt that like they were like, oh, we gotta do this, right? Because it could be the case that like enough people complained where they're like, oh, we're gonna lose enough users that this is kind of bad. But I don't think that's the case, especially since they said this is mostly targeted at small YouTubers, like these like dislike attacks or whatever. So I don't know. I think overall it's bad. I don't, I think it's bad for the users. I think it's probably good for the creators, because then like if a creator was kind of worried about their like to dislike, now I don't care about my like to dislike ratio, but if a user or a creator was concerned about that and it was like a big sign of stress for them, then yeah, maybe this will be good for them, because now you can only see it in the back end, but you know that like people like looking at your video won't be able to see it. But yeah, that being said, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel because, I want that algorithm like fanciness too. So yeah, hook your boy up, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and get into the video or into the article, and then we'll get into their video. And we'll just read it and we'll go over it. So um the dislike count will be private across YouTube, but the dislike button will remain. And they talk about this a little bit. The reason that the button isn't going away altogether is because like it helps YouTube know what things to suggest to you when you dislike something. So if you dislike something, they're not going to suggest it to you. Although I do think that if you dislike something but you watch the entire video, they're probably still going to recommend similar videos to you because what they care about is viewer retention, right? So it's more so about your engagement with the video and your view duration rather than if you thumbs up it or thumbs down it. But I will bet that if you thumbs up something and watch the whole video, or if you thumbs down something and watch the whole video, they're more likely to recommend things similar to the thumbs up. But if you thumbs up something and don't watch the whole video and then thumbs down something but watch the whole video, I bet you they're more likely to recommend things like that thing that you thumbs down just based on how much that video you watched. I think I'm pretty sure that's how the algorithm works. So we're making the dislike counts private across YouTube, but the dislike, oh wait, is this exactly what it just said? Okay. At YouTube, we strive to be a place where creators of all sizes and backgrounds can find and share their voice. To ensure that YouTube promotes respectful interactions between viewers and creators, we introduced several features and policies to improve their experience. And earlier this year, we experimented with the dislike button to see whether or not changes could help better protect our creators from harassment, reduce dislike attacks, where people work to drive up the number of dislikes on the creators' videos. Now, I mean, I don't know if this is really going to improve creator experience because people can still like leave mean comments. And I heard Kira talk about this, and this has actually been my experience on my YouTube as well, is that sometimes YouTube will just delete comments. And there's not really, it doesn't seem to be any real rhyme or reason to why YouTube decides to delete some comments and leave others. I've had some comments that seem completely benign just be removed. Like I can see that I got the update and I'll get the email for what the actual comment was, but then you go check the video and within seconds it's like deleted. And that's really annoying. I've had some frustration from some viewers before, and I'm sorry to those viewers. I can't really do anything about it. It's just what YouTube does. But Kira TV actually talked about having the same problem on his channel. So I'm very confident in saying that this is just the YouTube algorithm where it thinks that something is. So there's a few things that it could be. If it thinks that something is malicious in the sense that it's trying to sell people something or coax them into something that's going to remove them from the site or spend money elsewhere, obviously YouTube doesn't want that. So it's going to automatically remove those. Or it could be the case that it thinks that something is harassing and they don't want any kind of harassment on their platform, so they just remove it in that sense. And the algorithm is clearly, in my opinion, misinterpreting some messages. And it's hard to say what the reason for that is, but I don't know why. I don't know why they don't just put everything in like the review section for creators, because there are some like comments that can go to your review section if you're a creator that's like, hey, we kind of flagged this as potentially inappropriate. Do you want this comment allowed on your channel? And even there, I've had some issues where like some comments that were put up for review, I've been able to see in the mobile app, but not on the desktop app, and vice versa. And sometimes like the filtering doesn't work. So YouTube has, I think, some problems with their algorithm and with how that's presented on the creator end. But besides that, I don't know why they just implement these kinds of things that are meant to help people, but they don't really, right? They're meant to like remove like harassment or remove like people selling things to other people, but like it doesn't really work that well most of the time. At least in my experience, it doesn't really work that well. I don't know what the reason is, and I wish that they would hone in on that stuff more thoroughly than just what they do now, where it's just like a shotgun method where it's like, hey, well, we might get some bad ones, or we might get some false positives, but it's fine as long as we get all of the actual, bad ones. And so it's kind of annoying. I wish that there was more that as a creator, like I could do to like allow people to comment. Maybe, I don't know if it's possible to whitelist people. I know that you can just like ban people or block people so that they can't ever comment on any of your videos, but either way, it's just really, really annoying. And So that's what I think about this. I also think that removing the dislike count is kind of a weird way to do it. If you're worried about people doing like targeted harassment, then it seems like you would want to target their accounts, right? Like if some group of people is directing all their efforts toward disliking a specific user or a specific like type of content, then it's probably a problem with either like the suggestions from the algorithm or that individual user. So like if we see a user that just goes through and dislikes every single video from a creator, then why wouldn't they just like prevent that user from disliking that creator's videos or something? That seems like a way more reasonable response, I think, because if you do these like whole hog like measures where they're just like, okay, nobody can see the dislike count anymore, it affects a lot of people. Where if it's just like, hey, this one user is being a little bit suspicious, let's just prevent them, it's like a single user that gets affected. And I think that would be a lot better, especially since like the outcry from the community, this is it's pretty extreme. I think a lot of people are really really mad about it. So yeah, I just think that their solution was not the best. Anyway, as part of this experiment, viewers could still see and use the dislike button, but because the count was not visible to them, we found that they were less likely to target a video's dislike button to drive up the count. In short, our experiment data showed a reduction in dislike attacking behavior. We also heard directly from smaller creators and those just getting started that they are unfairly targeted by this behavior, and our experiment confirmed that this does occur at higher proportion on smaller channels. Okay, so I feel like this could just be because smaller channels have worse content, or if you're talking about something controversial, I think usually you're probably going to pull people who are like against you more up, because like if you have this strong opinion, you're probably more likely to dislike something that goes against that than go and find something and like it if it's in favor of you, I would say. And so that could be the reason. Like I don't really know what their methods were for conducting this research, considering it's YouTube. I'm sure it was exhaustive, I'm sure it was fine, but I think that those two things could add up to like smaller creators being targeted more. Like I hesitate to say targeted, because it could be that they're not even targeted. It could just be that people found their video, didn't like and disliked it. Also, I'd like to mention that dislikes actually help improve like the algorithm output of your video. So you can dislike my video, I'm fine with it, because it means that it's still interaction from the viewer, right? That means that they're still going to push it out to more people. I'm all for that. Go for it. I think that's great. And if people don't like my video, let me know. Maybe I'll do better next time, or maybe I'll disagree with you and I won't. Like I don't really get as offended, I think, maybe as some other people do. And of course, maybe some people have a right to be offended. Maybe some people are actually getting targeted by this stuff. I don't want to like tell anybody that they can't be offended at something, but at the same time, if you like don't I wouldn't take it personally, right? Like maybe these people are trying to be personal, but for you, just use it as like a metric for your growth. Because really, if you just look at these like numbers and like pretend like you're a business, like how YouTube is, and they're just looking for their own growth, I think you'll have a healthier outcome in terms of your like mental stability and like how you view your channel, how you view yourself. And also you'll probably do better on your channel. Like your channel will probably do better because you're viewing things in that manner, right? But maybe some people make their YouTube channel just for like validation of something, in which case, yeah, this could be traumatic, I guess, in some ways. And like, so I can see that aspect, but I think for those users, then just make it an option to hide the counts that way, which it already is, right? So that's my opinion. I don't really know. I don't really think that this is the best choice here, but hey, like I said, like, dislike my video, both help me in the algorithm. So please do that. It's sick. Leave a comment, also helps me in the algorithm. I appreciate it all. Based on what we learned, we're making the dislike counts private across YouTube, but the dislike button is not going to, yeah, we already read it. Okay, so let's go ahead. Oh, actually, let's see. What's changing for creators and viewers starting today? Creators will still be able to find their exact dislike counts in the YouTube studio, along with existing metrics, if they would like to understand how their content is performing. Viewers can still dislike videos to tune their recommendations and privately share feedback with creators. We heard during the experiment that some of you have used the public dislike count to help decide whether or not to watch a video. Obviously, we know that you might not agree with this decision, but we believe that this is the right thing to do for the platform. Again, it's probably is the right thing to do for the platform. It's probably the wrong thing to do for the viewers, if that makes sense. So as far as the platform's monetary like growth goes, this is probably the right move. That would be my guess. We want to create an inclusive and respectful environment. Uh, okay, sure. I mean, this would probably also do that, where if like it would create a more inclusive, respectful environment. I agree. Unless you create such like these people want to hurt you so much and they can't anymore because the dislike button's gone, that they have to like leave scathing comments or email you some bad things, I guess. But I don't think that's very likely. I think that they'll like just dislike the video anyway and just be on with their day. I don't think most people go like the extra mile to like be harassing. I could be wrong though. Where creators have the opportunity to succeed and feel safe to express themselves, I do think it's important to feel safe to express yourself, but I don't think you should feel threatened if you have like a heavy dislike to like ratio. Like I don't think that should threaten you in any way. Maybe you can feel sad about it, or like I don't know if you should feel threatened though. That seems kind of weird. This is just one of the many steps we are taking to continue to protect creators from harassment. Our work is not done, and we will continue to invest here. Okay, great.
Hey folks, you may have seen a while back
Well,
that
watch the
YouTube
video.
announced it was experimenting with making dislike counts private to only the creator of the video. Now, if you're like me, you were surprised by that. I mean, I've always thought seeing the number of dislikes on a video helps us know as viewers if it's a good video or not, if it's a helpful tutorial or not, or if what a creator is saying in their video is generally agreed with or not.
Well, yeah, that is like literally what it does, right? But I again, that's not. I don't think that's the goal of YouTube. The goal isn't to help people find things that they want. That's kind of like a side product of what their main goal is, which is to make money. And the way that they make money on this channel, or not on this channel, but on this platform, is by getting people to stay tuned into a video, because the longer someone's watching, the more ads they can present you, right? So if people are going to like click on a video, see it's a dislike, and click away, that's going to reduce how long people watch the video. So yeah, that's literally, that is the correct purpose of the like and dislike ratio and dislike count, but that's not conducive to YouTube's like monetary incentive.
But unfortunately, research teams at YouTube have found there's this whole other use for disliking a video that I had never experienced as a creator, and you may not have either. Apparently, groups of viewers are targeting a video's dislike button to drive up the count, turning it into something like a game with a visible scoreboard.
Okay, I said this earlier, I don't think this is very common. And even when like people are getting like massive dislikes, it could just be because they have a bad take or a bad content, or like whatever. Like maybe that's the reason I get dislikes sometimes. Who cares? But like I can see people gamifying this idea of like, oh, you're at like 68 dislikes, let's get that golden 69 number or something like that. Yeah, maybe. Or like, oh, we're just gonna see how high we can push this dislike button. Yeah, I could see that happening. I just don't think it's very common. I don't disagree that it probably happens
And
though.
it's usually just because they don't like the creator or what they stand for.
Sure.
That's a big problem when half of
Yeah, again, if people are targeting a specific user, this should be really easy to see on the back end. Just prevent that user from disliking. Like that's such an easy thing to do.
is to give everyone
Or
a
maybe
voice.
even just disliking that specific creator, right? Like I don't know, like that's, and I don't even think that if someone is targeting a specific user, that's the worst thing in the world, honestly.
So earlier in 2021, YouTube experimented with making the public dislike count private to see if it would help reduce these coordinated dislike attacks across the platform. And after analysis, they did see a reduction.
Okay.
So
how
the
much?
update
I
from
want to know how
YouTube
much of a
is that-
reduction. Like, is it like a 5% reduction, a 10% reduction, a 90% reduction? Like, what kind of reduction are we seeing? Like, if it's like a 1% reduction, is that really worth the like loss in utility? No. If it's a 90% reduction, even then, like, how prevalent is this? Is it still enough? Like, there's a lot of things that matter here. Like, how often this happens, how much of a like decrease it actually created, what are the side effects? Like, is there, like I said, is there more targeted harassment in comments now, or is there more targeted harassment in emails now, or are people just ignoring it now? Because I would rather have someone watch my video and dislike it to drive up that dislike count than watch my video and not dislike it, or come here and like not like my video within a couple seconds and leave, right? So like there's some things that as a creator that make more sense for a metric standpoint, I'd rather have happen than, like, it depends on the outcome, right? And they don't really talk about that very well. So I wish I know that YouTube would never do this, but I wish I could see those documents and see what the actual outcome was. That'd be super awesome.
The dislike button is staying, but the dislike counts will now be private.
Hmm.
You can still dislike videos, and that action will be used to tune your own recommendations, but you won't be able to see the dislike count. Only the creator can find it on the back end if they want. Now, a few common questions we saw from the initial experiment. First, without a public dislike count, how can viewers tell if a video is worth watching?
They can't.
Again, I kind of had this question too, but it turns out that while viewers might use the dislike count to give them a sense of a video's worth, when the teams looked at the data across millions of viewers and videos in the experiment, they didn't see a noticeable difference in viewership, regardless of whether they could see the dislike count or not. In other words,
Yeah. I wonder how that was tailored, right? Like, is it that this was carried by like specific types of content, like political content, where people are going to watch it regardless, or was it carried by like big users or like big creators where people are going to watch their content regardless? I wonder how that data was carried, right? Because they went from saying like, oh, this was targeted at small users to across this whole thing. We saw that it didn't really matter overall. Yeah, maybe it didn't matter overall, but for very specific videos, did it matter? Like for specifically tutorial videos, did it matter? I would love to know the answer to that.
it didn't really matter if a video had a lot of dislikes or not, they still watched. Next common question, if creators can still see the dislike count on the back end, how's that any different? They can see it if
Well, obviously it's different. It's not that different for a creator, other than they don't have to worry about other people seeing their dislike count. The only person is different for is the viewer. Like that seems pretty obvious, right?
look for it inside Studio Analytics under the
Okay.
Engagement tab.
Thanks.
But overall, it's much less likely to cause stress and embarrassment if the count
Is
isn't
it
visible
though?
to the public.
Is it less likely? I mean, I agree it's probably less likely to cause embarrassment, but is it less likely to cause stress? I don't know. Like, I don't know about that because you're still seeing the like to dislike ratio, right?
One more common question,
So I don't
is
know.
this because YouTube Rewind got lots of dislikes?
100%.
No. Although there are some teams internally who have learned the hard way what it feels like to get lots of dislikes. Now, this again is about protecting all creators and making sure they have a chance to succeed and feel safe in doing so. All right, so that's the update. I hope it doesn't cause too much frustration.
It already
Honestly,
did.
I think you're going to get used to it pretty quickly, and keep in
Probably.
mind other platforms don't even have a dislike button.
Yeah, but
So
okay. Okay, one, yes, we probably will get used to it quickly. Honestly, people are always very opposed to change, and usually they adopt it pretty quickly, actually. Other platforms also don't operate in the same way. We don't really, like, I guess Reddit does, right? Like, you can see, like, the upvotes. Maybe they should just do that, like, a total. Like, what if they just did a total? Hey, dude, why didn't they do that instead? Instead of, like, seeing the like count and the dislike count, why don't you just tell me the total, like, added dislike to likes, right? So if it's like 10 likes and a 1 dislike, then it's 9. Oh, they should have done that. Oh my god, dude, big brain. But they didn't do that, so whatever. I think that would have been better than this. It is what it is. But yeah, like, so Reddit, I mean, obviously Twitter doesn't matter. Like, you can see, like, you can still get ratio on Twitter. Like, you have a hella replies and like 2 likes. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's bad. But either way, it's fine. Like, maybe it's the same on YouTube now. If you have hella comments but like 2 likes, yeah, maybe you're not doing great. But I don't know. YouTube is not really the same as other things. Like, you don't put your tutorial on Twitter. You don't put your tutorial on like Instagram. Maybe if it's a short one, you could put it on Instagram. But usually, if it's like a long tutorial, put it on YouTube, and then people can gauge it that way. So maybe.
consider that. Thank you, and I hope you're well.
Yeah, I am well. Thanks, buddy. Okay, well, anyway, yeah, that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, I guess it doesn't matter if you dislike the video. I mean, it matters for the algorithm. So if you don't like me, go and dislike this video. But otherwise, like my video, leave a comment, it'll help me in the algorithm, and subscribe to the channel. I want to make more content in general. So if you have some ideas for content you're interested in or things that you like to talk about, let me know. Leave it down in a comment, or you can email me. Either way, I'll probably check it out, and if I like it and I enjoy it and I think I can talk about it, then I'll make a video about it. But yeah, I like I said, I think this is overall a bad change. If they just made it so that it is like an additive thing, maybe that would have been better, but I don't know. Either way, this is kind of it's a bad viewer experience now, I think, for all people on YouTube. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Peace.